Professor Peter Olapegba, the guest lecturer of the 447th Inaugural Lecture of the University of Ibadan, was the cynosure of all eyes as the Professor of Psychology and current Dean of Faculty of the Social Sciences seized the podium to unveil the long-anticipated lecture, Topic That I May Know, on the 28th of March 2019. It was indeed a moment of polling great minds from all walks of life to a sitting. The atmosphere was charged with eminent personalities, scholars, government functionaries, captains of industry, chief executive officers of corporate organizations, executive directors, chairmen of conglomerates, heads of security agencies, members of different academic unions, lecturers, students, to mention a few, were all seated at the International Conference Center of the University of Ibadan, with itching ears for what the erudite professor of psychology would make of a topic that sounds more scriptural than academic. It was a memorable moment to give his professorial report card firsthand about his current research work. Professor Olapegba said that I may know means a lot that the eyes can meet in an inaugural lecture postal. Without any doubt, if research were conducted based on the anticipation of the participants on the outstanding theme, a lot of answers will emanate, most especially from the spiritual perspective. It can be debated indirectly that some of the participants were there to ease their inquisitive state on the captivating theme. Hence, the professor, without mincing words, did justice to the topic.
One basic feature of man that showed up right from creation is the quest for knowledge. Man is configured to seek knowledge, and he remains restless until he finds it. Sir, it is quite interesting to know that it was the quest for knowledge that led man into the original trouble at creation, and it is still the quest for knowledge to undo the original error that is still driving man today.
Knowledge is the only light that can defeat the darkness of ignorance, and such knowledge can only manifest when one is burnt out with the quest to know the unknown. He opined that indeed knowledge is power, and it must be cultivated for it to be harvested. It must not only be sought and acquired. There is also a moral obligation on those who possess it to make it available to others in a liberal manner. According to him, quest for knowledge is the vehicle that drives one, society, and the world at large out of the power of ignorance. Knowledge is about knowing the truth to be free from the power of ignorance, he stated. In his quest to know, Professor Olapegba took his time to not only dig out some common societal issues pestering the human existence, which measures from family, marital violence, sexual harassment, sexuality, victimization to the phenomenon of quality of life, but also harnesses as a lead in finding a lasting solution. The ebullient professor noted that man by nature is wired with zeal to seek knowledge because knowledge gives the capacity to explore and sustain the environment. Through knowledge, therefore, man has been able to create a conducive environment for people to succeed in their different facets of life. Hence, man never ceases to rest until he knows more than he earlier knew. Driving his points home, he raised some questions, stating clearly the need for continuous seeking for knowledge in order to solve problems which have eaten deep into human existence. How does one explain the mindless looting going on in Nigeria? What is the mind of those stealing humongous amounts of money and keeping same in septic tanks? What will we find in the minds of those slaughtering fellow human beings without batting eyelids? How does one explain the mind of those who pay workers pittance but go home monthly with millions of naira for sitting in colored chambers to shout, "Those not in support say nay, the eyes have it"? Indeed, the heart of man is desperately wicked, and we must search it that we may know. The erudite professor called on leaders at all levels to create a level playing field between the rich and the poor for our country and indeed Africa to be a better place for all. The Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor A.I. Olayinka, who was also the chairman of the occasion, was full of praises for Professor Peter Olapegba for doing justice to the topic.